Welcome to the Majesty Speaks podcast. I'm your host, Faith, and I'm excited to have you here. This podcast is all about spirituality, manifestation, personal development, esoteric knowledge, and much more. Now, let's get into today's episode.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Majesty Speaks podcast. So I am doing video this episode. So a few life updates, I would say. And during this episode, I am going to be checking my computer, so bear with me because I just can't remember all this stuff, okay? Okay. So, life updates. If you don't follow me on Instagram or TikTok, as of now, and for almost like a month now, I have opened up my astrocartography offers. So I'm trying to make sure I speak into the little mic here. But I have opened up my astrocartography offers. So I am now offering astrocartography readings. If you're unfamiliar with astrocartography, it is pretty much locational astrology. So what does that mean? Basically, place has energy, and so we're helping you find the different places that unlock the potential of your birth chart. So basically, an astrocartography map is your birth chart laid out on top of a map. So it's showing you the trajectory of the planets at the minute you were born. So if you were born in the daytime, and let's say you were born at 7 a.m., the sun may have been rising in the city that you were born, but somewhere else in the world, the sun is setting. So you're going to have a line for both. You have a sun line for it rising. You have a sun line for it setting. You have a sun line for the east. You have a sun line for the west, right? So that kind of vibe, as well as like the high point of your chart versus the low point of your chart. So for every planet, you're going to have 4 lines in total. Overall, the map has 44 to 48 lines on them, depending on which planets you choose to include. But for standard purposes, it's mainly 44 lines that touch different parts of the world, and you can go to these places to activate that energy. That was a lot. And we're actually not here for that. However, that is my latest offer on top of my tarot readings. If you didn't know, I am a tarot reader. I mean, I assume if you've stuck around long enough, you know that I read tarot. But in case you're new here, my name is Faith, and I am an intuitive tarot reader and now an astrocartographer. So, astrocartography is locational astrology, like I said. So I am an astrologer. Woot woot. But it's just based on travel or location. So who is astrocartography for? Astrocartography is for anybody who's looking to relocate or just travel, or again, tap into those potentials using your physical location versus how we usually work with the birth chart as far as just tapping into the planetary energies in various ways. Again, that is not the point of this episode, but I guess I just really had to get that spiel out of there. So today's episode is actually about just astrology in general. So Astrology 101, Astrology for Dummies. That's what I really want to call it, but I don't know if that is trademarked, because that's like, if you're a 90s baby, you know, it's like the books that everybody would go to learn about different stuff, like driving for dummies or learn computers for dummies. Like it's a funny thing. It doesn't sound nice, but it's actually, I like those books. They're pretty funny and actually pretty helpful. Anyways, this is Astrology 101. So I noticed first of all, not a lot of people know what astrocartography is, which is fine. That's why I'm here. That's why I am talking about it and offering it. And it is a part of astrology, but I just noticed that the average person doesn't always have the best understanding of their birth chart in general, or just like a deep dive into astrology besides like their sun sign, maybe their big 3. I feel a little bit better when I meet people who know their big 6, but overall, not a lot of people know. I will say that there's more resources out there for common knowledge about astrology, like apps such as CoStar, Time Passages, and Pattern. I don't really like Pattern, but Pattern is another one. So with that being said, I'm just going to dive right into it. Basically, this episode is going to be more educational. If astrology isn't your jam, then this probably isn't the episode for you, and that's okay. But yeah, so I also did this because I noticed on TikTok, I saw a lot of TikToks when it comes to astrology where they're like, oh, astrology girlies, like, break down my chart, judge my chart. Why can't I find this? Why can't I find that? So instead of breaking your neck to find an astrology girly, which I still highly recommend, but at least if you find an astrology girly to break it down, it will make more sense. And you can always book an astrocartography reading because I'll break down your birth chart and your astrocartography map. So 2 for 1. But anyways, so first things first, I named off all of those apps, but unless you like kind of seek it out on those apps, which some of them do, some of them don't, but in general, the little charts that they give you, the tables, that's not a birth chart. And I know that sounds crazy, but when you hear the astrology girlies or astrologers talk about a birth chart, we're talking about the wheel that looks like a pie in the sky, sliced into 12 slices. That is what we're talking about. That is what we want to see because it has all of the information that really gives you the details that you need to look at various areas of your life, as well as the aspects between different planets. And if you don't know what that means, we'll get into it for a second. But right now, I just want you to understand that we need that wheel, okay? And if I can edit this to post a little picture with a wheel, I will, but overall, it's the wheel with all the slices, right? So, I also want to talk about, some people believe that astrology is like fated, set in stone. Like when they seek out astrology, it's like almost kind of, and I say this with love, like if you're this person who feels like astrology is like the say so, this is not any disrespect to you, but personally I just don't believe that. I do believe we have free will for a reason. What do I mean by that? It's like kind of like a scapegoat, like, oh, I cussed somebody out and duh, I did, it's Mercury retrograde. While Mercury is retrograde and it does have an effect on us, yes, I do believe that. And communication can go left. Like maybe you felt slighted when actually they weren't trying to slight you. You still chose of your own free will to cuss them out. So I don't think that it's like the end all be all, oh, this planet made me do this or astrology made me do that. I don't think that. I think that we still have our free will, but I think it is a nice guidepost to show us not only our own energy and the potential of our own energy in natal promise, but also the energy of the world, our environment, location, as I just talked about, how to interact with the energy of others, etc., etc., etc. So I just want to give that disclaimer before I go any deeper. Okay. All right. Now, moving on to the 12 signs. Now, for most people, like I said, most people know their sun sign at least. And even the people that I've met that don't know their sun sign, they're like, oh, I don't know what sign it is, but my birthday is blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, they expect you to figure it out, right? So the 12 signs, which I didn't put their dates on here, but the 12 signs starting with Aries. So Aries starts, I just went blank. See, I didn't put the dates on there. Aries is end of March, early April. So Aries is all about the initiation. It's the leader. It's the one that's going to go first. They're bold. They're energetic. They're the pioneer. Okay. They're depicted as the ram. Okay. Aries have a lot of bad reps for being like hotheads, like let's go, let's take it there kind of vibe. With some Aries people, it's just natural. It comes to them, right? It's just because it's like, again, it's like they're the initiator. So it's like, oh, if that's what we're doing, I'm going to do it all the way. So yeah, but overall, this is great energy for like that fresh start when you want to get things up and going. Love Aries. Okay. Moving on to Taurus. So Taurus people start at the end of April, beginning to middle of May. Okay, so Taurus and Aries is a fire sign, which I'll get into all this a little later as far as the elements, but I'll go ahead and tell you with each sign. So Aries is a fire sign, and Taurus, moving on, is a earth sign. So it's gonna like traverse through all of the elements. So Aries is the earth sign. So Tauruses are all about like steadfast, slow and steady wins the race kind of vibes. They can be also stubborn in that regard though. Like I'm not moving. Like I'm gonna do what I want to do kind of vibe. They are depicted as the bull, so that's kind of where that comes from. They love food, like a lot of Taurus are foodies. And just overall, they are very in tune with their senses. So a lot of Tauruses are very sensual, and I don't mean that in a sexual way. A lot of people get sensuality and sexuality they think that that's the same thing, and it's not. So sensuality is pertaining to your five senses. So someone who is very sensual is very aware, self-aware of their senses, and they know how to like maximize them basically. So when it comes to the five senses, Taurus rules the five senses really, in that regard. So they're very in tune with it. I'm gonna say that. I'm not gonna say they rule because I don't know if that's true. I don't think that's true, but they're very in tune with the five senses, and they like aesthetically pleasing things. They are ruled by Venus as well. That's their ruling planet. So they still like the finer things in life. I have a Taurus moon, so I definitely relate. And yeah, earth signs, cool people. My mom's a Taurus. Love her. And Aries, I didn't say the ruling planet for Aries. Aries ruling planet is Mars. Okay. All right. So moving on to Gemini. I don't know if you can see my necklace. Oh, it's turned. I'm a Gemini. I'm a Gemini sun. So Gemini sun, Taurus moon. Anyways, so Geminis are, I don't have the check notes. I don't know why I don't have the check notes. I know I am. Okay. But Gemini is what you see right here. Okay. All of that is part of Gemini. We're very witty, outgoing. We're very like social until our social battery runs out. Then it's like, please don't talk to us. We have the bad rep of being Satan spawns or two-faced, as people like to call us on the internet or whatever. But basically we have a duality to us that is not really common in all the other zodiacs. I think the only the only other sign that kind of gets it is Pisces. Now, I will say there is a duality or shadow side to each and every sign. Don't get me wrong, but I think Gemini show theirs the most, and then I would say right behind that is Pisces, and then you can see it in other signs as well, whether they think it or not. But overall, like that's what we're known for, right? We are depicted as the twins. So it's like one man, we could be happy-go-lucky, yeah, and then literally the drop of a hat is like, but who are you talking to? Like it just. And I like to tell people that we really are a mirror. I think we're ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the god, it's the trickster god, but it's also the god of communication, technology, swift quickness. So it's like, I think a lot of times the attitude comes because we can actually, like, there's an intuitive sense to communication, and we're picking up on like all types of communication, not just, I know we like the yep, but we pick up on body language, social cues, facial expressions, all of these things we pick up on, and all of that is just like adding up, and then you're gonna get the reaction. Because it's like, if I'm talking to a person and they appear happy-go-lucky to everybody else, but I'm noticing these small cues where I feel disrespected or like slighted, then boom, when I burst out with an attitude, it's not because it came out of nowhere, but of course it would appear like that to everybody else. Not trying to like, not me pleading our case, but whatever. So there's my Gemini bias. Okay. Again, ruled by Mercury. So we are at the end of May, beginning to mid-June. And let's move on to Cancer. So Cancers are from the end of June to mid-August, and they are the evolution. So every sign after the initial sign is like an evolution of that. So they're like so sweetheart. I would say sometimes Geminis, until we evolve, we aren't always in tune with our emotions. And I feel like Cancer really just glided into that very well. Of course, on social media, they can be known as crybabies, but of course that is just because they are more in tune with their emotions. They're ruled by the moon, right? So when you think of the moon and the tides of water, so humans are 70% water. So it's like Cancers really are subjective to those moon cycles and how it pushes and pulls us emotionally. And that is what you see when it comes to their emotional side. But that also comes with a very high sense of intuition and just heightened sensitivity. They're depicted as the crab, because sometimes they can go in their shell or just kind of get like a little crabby with you. Like still kind of that sense of tube, like, okay, not too much, like, so, but overall, they're very nurturing. It's just homey, very like, again, they're a water sign, and Gemini is ruled by air, if you can't tell. So Aries, fire, Taurus, earth, Gemini, air, Cancer, water. So they are a water sign, but they just have this almost earthy quality to a lot of Cancers, or just very like ethereal vibe. I also feel like that with Pisces, but we'll get into them next. But yeah, overall, just this ethereal, homey vibe that you get with Cancers. Okay, moving. Oh, guys, I think my computer died. Okay, Leo, and currently, as I'm recording this, it is Leo season. Okay, I have a Leo rising. So my ascendant sign is Leo, okay? So Leo is all about bold, energetic, go big or go home kind of vibes. It is depicted as the lion, and then as far as the element, we are back at fire signs. So Leos lead from the heart, and a lot of people think that they just do too much. They just want to take up, like, as far as like negative aspects, they think like, oh, Leos always want like the attention seeker, and it's not that. It's just as far as like they just want to lead from the heart, and they want people around them that are loving and just embracing them, and they're just in that like mantra, I guess, in that motto, like of them just leading from the heart and just not caring about being seen. Like, let's just go big or go home, like F it kind of vibes. In that process, some people like kind of take it as like, oh, too much. But overall, I mean, I like it. They're very creative, they're bold, they're courageous, and just also pretty honest. Most Leos are pretty honest and like let you know right away. And they just, I don't know. I like Leos. Very charismatic, or like if you need that type of performer, they're there. Okay. And Leos are end of July, mid August. Trying to make sure I say it. Yeah, mid August. Okay. Fire sign. I gave the element. Leos are ruled by the sun. So bold again, hot. Okay. But then they also like Leo the lion. They also have the lion going on in there. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, moving on to Virgo. So Virgo, it is an earth sign. And it is ruled by Mercury, which I absolutely love because obviously I'm ruled by Mercury. So I like talking to Virgos because they're very analytical. They pay very, very, very close attention to details. One thing that I notice about Virgos, especially Virgo women, dress to the nines, okay? And just to back my statement on that, Zendaya is a Virgo, Beyonce is a Virgo, and I mean, say what you will, but I mean, they dress, and even if they have like you know what I'm trying to say. What am I trying to say? Even if they have a stylist, yeah, it's still like chef's kiss, okay? So Virgo, they're very analytical, details, like I said, meticulous, but it's also practical, right? Like make it make sense. Like it has to make sense. It has to line up. I'm not gonna waste my time kind of vibe. Okay. So if you need someone to look over that contract, read the fine print, it's a Virgo. Okay. Earth sign, like I said, so they are from mid-August to end of August to mid to end of August, I guess I should say, to mid-September. All right. And then next, we are going to move into Libra. I'm so sorry if you hear music in the back. My fellow content studio neighbor is, I don't know what they're doing. They're having a blast and I like it, but hopefully it's not interrupting the message. Okay, Libra. So Libra is again from September 20th something all the way up until mid-October. So Libra is all about balance, okay? We're back as far as the elements at air, okay? And they are ruled by Venus, similar to Taurus. So again, it's all about this Venusian vibe. So it's all about beauty, aesthetics, and everything has to be balanced, like, fix your bra strap, tilt this way, like that kind of vibe. But they just like the beauty in everything. They like to feel treated equally and fair as a partner and as a friend. They like justice. A lot of Libras like justice. And just overall to feel as though the effort that they are putting in, they're also equally receiving. Again, those scales. They really like to be they really do well as far as like being a diplomat and just overall charming and very relationship focused. So that is Libra. They are ruled by Venus, like I said, air sign. I'm just trying to make sure I remember everything. Next is Scorpio. So Scorpio is from mid-October all the way until beginning mid-November. So they are water signs, so we're back at water. Traditionally, they are ruled by Mars, but then in more modern astrology, they are also ruled by Pluto. So Scorpio rules the sex organ, so it's very like life but rebirth. So think like just overall transformation. In tarot is the death card represents Scorpio, and not in like a like literal death way, but more so just like regeneration. Like think about the phoenix and like rising from the ashes. The Scorpio is depicted by a scorpion sometimes, but then also again, no, it's just Scorpion. Yeah, sorry. So just Scorpion, they are a water sign. And Scorpios can be intense, very passionate. A lot of them are known to be more sexual, and again, sex organs, like we get it, right? But a highly sexual person can also be a highly creative person, right? Because it's the same thing as life force energy. So, yeah, they can be a little bit of secretive or private just because they have a hard time like letting people into that whole world. So keep that in mind. Sagittarius, they are from mid-November to mid-November to early December. So these are all of my adventure seekers. They're very optimistic, philosophical. They just love to hang out, travel, do what they want to do. Very independent, autonomous beings. They are ruled by Jupiter. They are a fire sign, and they're depicted as the why can't I think of this? I don't know why I want to say Pegasus, and that is not right. But I say Pegasus, but I'm seeing the half man, half horse. I can't think of the word right now, but you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? Centaur? Is it centaur? Maybe. Capricorn. Capricorns are very disciplined, hardworking. Let's get it done. They know how to make money. Okay, Earth. We're back to Earth. Very Earth energy. Ambitious. They're strategic. They're ruled by Saturn, Papa Saturn, as I like to say. So very like disciplined. Like this is how we do it. This is how we get it done. But like they're very fun. Like they can also be. I have a lot of Capricorn energy around me, and I think it's very nice. Sometimes restrictive with Saturn, but overall very nice. Next, we have Aquarius, and Capricorns are from, I mean, I'm guessing you guys get it by now. You can look it up, but Capricorns are from mid-December to early January. And then next we have Aquarius from mid-January to early February. So Aquarius is ruled traditionally by Saturn, but then in modern astrology it's Saturn and Uranus. It is an air sign. They're depicted as the water bearer, even though that they're an air sign, and it's just because they are air signs. So yes, they're speaking the truth, but then also they're carrying that weight. Like these people, they love to be the different ones, very individualistic. And you think of that Uranus energy, plot twist, I paved my own path, I know my own way kind of energy. So that is why they're the water bearer, because it's like, well, I'll bear the weight. Like I'll be that guy. I don't mind. I really don't. Like I don't like I have a lot of Aquarius friends who say they don't like humans just because they feel like outer worldly, and it's no disrespect to humankind as a whole. Like Aquarius is actually known for like humanitarian pursuits. It's like they just care so much about humans that to the point where it's like they can't stand the destructive side of humanity. And I forgot to mention Capricorns are depicted as the goat. Not saying y'all the goat, but I'm just saying what y'all depicted at. But lastly, we have Pisces. So Pisces is mid-February to beginning of March, and they're the last zodiac in the sign. Last sign in the zodiac. I said that backwards. They're depicted as the fish. They are water signs, and they are ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. So they're very deep and intuitive. Like I think Pisces, the wisdom of Pisces is so slept on. And I would like to highlight that we're moving from the age of Pisces, like water, just like philosophical dream-like belief, to more like awakening to the age of Aquarius, where it's like more awakening, we're woke, humankind kind of coming online, and we're like Christ consciousness is coming together. And not saying that in like a religious way, but that's like the term, as the umbrella term is Christ consciousness, where it's like everybody's like awakening, we're all in tune, we're having the same thoughts, like that kind of vibe. And then going against the grain, breaking down what is no longer working kind of energy. Anyways, back to Pisces. So they're depicted as the fish. Again, very intuitive, very just overall all-knowing. They kind of live in their own world, dream world kind of vibes, but they're also very passionate, intuitive, very creative as far as like imagination with that Neptune energy, and things like that. So I hope that helps. All right, that was a mouthful. Next, we're going to go on to the elements. So the elements in astrology, if you haven't noticed already, is fire, earth, air, and water. And this is just all about, again, you saw it within each of the signs, and you'll see it more so. Fire is more so like self-starting, like let's go. It's movement. It's not movement like air, but it's movement because fire is alive, right? They're passionate, they're bold, they're energetic, they're gonna go out and get it done and have fun and be seen. Earth, very stable, very grounded, very stubborn sometimes, but also just very practical. And then you have air. We're everywhere, right? Fast, quick, witty, emotional, but kind of in like a sporadic way sometimes. And just overall, we know how to communicate. We're messengers, in various different ways between Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. So fire signs: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Earth, the Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Air is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Sorry, I don't know why I blanked. And lastly, you have water. So these are very in tune with their emotions, go deeper, flow. Sometimes they hold grudges if they're not careful. But very more flowy and in tune. And this is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Okay. There's also something called modalities in astrology. So this is relating to like more so the seasons, especially with modern astrology. So you have cardinal signs, you have mutable signs, you have, why am I blanking? Cardinal, mutable, and why can't I think of the third one? Fixed. God, that was forever, okay? And I'm blanking in this regard because I really didn't pay attention to this for a long time. But cardinal signs are, again, like the beginning of the season, like think spring, think starting, like they're the first to do it. So Aries, I believe, Libra, it's like the first of each season, I guess I should say. The first sign of each season would be cardinal signs. And then you have the ones in between would be fixed. So within that would be like Taurus, so stubborn. No offense to Taurus, I get it, and Taurus moons, I get it. But you have more fixed sign who are kind of more like set in their ways, or that energy is more set and stable. Then you have mutable signs who are more adaptable, chameleon-like, can change, can go with the flow, whatever you kind of need them to be, they'll be it kind of vibes. So yeah, that's a brief thing on modalities. So the houses, this is the big thing. And this is why I said, when you are talking about a birth chart, you actually need the pie, the 12 slice pie, because the houses are included in that. So on the outer part of the wheel, you have all of the signs. So when you hear someone say, oh, my sun is in my 10th house in the sign of Libra, then that means that that slice has 10 on the inner wheel, and then on the outer wheel is going to have Libra outside of it. And the 10, that slice of the house, is going to tell you what area. So the 10th house, well, we'll get there. So the first house is all about you. Normally your ascendant is like near the in between the first house or the 12th house, depending on what house system that you use. There are different systems. The most popular ones are Placidus and Whole House. Placidus is literally like you fall where you fall. Whole House is kind of balancing it out, so where it's just kind of evenly divided, basically. So your first house is all about your beginnings, who you are as a person, your self-concept, your self-awareness, your appearance, your personality, of course, think rising sign. It has also to do with your physical body, your health, first impressions, etc. So very close with your ascendant, right? Oh, the air just turned on. Is that the air? Okay, hopefully y'all don't hear that, but if y'all do, that was weird. Okay, anyways, second house is your house of possessions, it's your money, it's your values, how you value yourself, how you value other people, or how you not how you value other people, but how you value yourself when it comes to other people, or like your self values, how you were treated as a kid, your self-worth, financial security. So this is definitely a money house. If you've taken my money workshop, you know all about the second house. And if you haven't, that's okay. I'll be bringing it back very, very soon. Okay. Third house is all about communication, siblings, short-term travel, learning, your mental agility, early education. So teaching, teachers, pre-K, kindergarten, those kind of vibes. It is ruled by Mercury. Second house is ruled by Venus, and the first house is ruled by Mars. Okay. Fourth house is ruled by the moon, and the fourth house is all about your home, your family, your parents, your roots, where you come from. So like ancestral roots, your emotional security, your private and inner sanctuary, as well as like childhood memories and how you were brought up. Fifth house is ruled by the sun. So this is all about your creativity, your self-expression. How do you usually show up? This also has to do with romance, dating, love affairs, creativity, children, all of those different things. Like how do you express yourself in those lights? Sixth house is ruled by Mercury, and this is all about work and work habits, your daily routine, coworkers, your health habits, how are you organized, your efficiency, your pets, your animals, things like that. Seventh house is ruled by Venus. That is your house of relationships. So this is all about partnerships. How do you show up as a partner? What do you look for in a partner? What is the negotiation? What is the compromise? How do you like to collaborate? What about your enemies? Do you keep them like keep your friends close but your enemy closer kind of vibes, or how do you normally go about that? New negotiations, like I said, social connections, as well as reflection of yourself through others, because the seventh house is usually very close to the descendant, which is how you show up in relationships, how others like reflect the energy back to you in relationships, in partnerships, friendships, whatever the case may be. Eighth house is ruled by Mars and Pluto. So this house is all about transformation, regeneration. Really think Scorpio energy here. So this is the occult. This is intimacy, sex, love, shared resources, taxes, loans, death, rebirth. So this actually could like be like, oh, if you lose someone, you know, like some people who have eighth house Venus, like they might become a widow, things like that. Not trying to scare you guys, but psychological issues or deaths, mysteries, things like that. Ninth house is all about travel, diplomat, foreign affairs. It's ruled by Jupiter. So philosophy, educational pursuits, like think like past like adolescent years, but like college, PhD, those kind of vibes. So extended studies, a quest for meaning and understanding, things like that. 10th house. Now we're at 10th house. 10th house is ruled by Saturn. So this is all about your career, your public image. How do you show up on stage, your public spotlight, which is more so the MC, but again, MC is usually in the 10th house or like 9th house, like end of 9th house. So what are your ambitions, your goals, your authority, your status, achievement, recognition, your legacy kind of energy. 11th house is ruled by Uranus or Saturn, and that is all about your friendships, groups of people, groups of friends, social media, think group work, your hopes, your dreams, humanitarian pursuits, networking and collaborations, etc., etc. 12th house, this is ruled by Neptune and Jupiter. So this is very like deep. This is a karmic house. Think like embryo, like before life. And what, like, when you look at your 12th house, this can kind of tell you what you may have brought into this life. If you believe in reincarnation, then they say that, like, the energy of the 12th house could be lessons or themes that you brought into this life from your previous life. So this has to do with like your subconscious, isolation, seclusion, spiritual growth, again, healing, karma, hidden enemies, compassion, etc., etc. Okay, so that was a lot. Where are we at? Oh, okay, yeah, we're just 30 minutes in, not too shabby. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the planets and the different meanings for that. So the planets, we all know about the sun, right? So it is you, it is your self-expression, your core identity, your ego, okay? The sign that rules the sun is Leo, like I said before. So this is your life force, your vitality, and what really gets you going, and it pretty much rules your basic personality. The moon is ruled by Cancer, as mentioned. So this has to do with your emotions, what makes you feel secure, what makes you feel safe, how do you show up in relation to others, your intuition, your mood swings, etc., etc., etc. Mercury, again, signs that are ruled or we are ruled by Mercury is Gemini and Virgo. So this is all about communication, talk, swiftness, quickness, wittiness. It's a trickster planet. It rules technology. How are you being rational? What makes you curious? Information exchange, books, anything like that. Venus is ruled or rules Taurus and Libra. So again, this is all about pleasure, love, abundance, beauty. What is like, what makes you impulsive, where it's like, I gotta have it, what pleases you, what makes the body feel good, etc., etc., etc. Mars is, Venus can also be, of course, what you kind of look for in a partner or what you find attractive in a partner. Mars, it rules Aries and Scorpio. This is aggression. This is drive, whether that's sex drive or just overall like willpower drive kind of energy, very masculine. Venus is very feminine. Mars is very masculine and just like Martian energy. It's a different type of impulsive. It's like more of a forceful impulsive versus Venus is like impulse shopping at the store. Mars is like, what'd you say? I'll kill you kind of impulse. We don't promote that, but just saying, like, it's more aggressive, it's more assertive, it's more energizing in that way. Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces, as mentioned. So Jupiter is all about luck, expansion, abundance, philosophy, religion. So it's all about the thought process and like, how can we go bigger? And it's lucky, but then, you know, everybody loves to think of Jupiter as like a benevolent planet, and it is, but just be mindful that it expands whatever it's in. So like right now, Jupiter is in Gemini. So while it is great to have any type of pursuit, like a podcast, a blog, where you're speaking, you're exchanging information, very mercurial type of energy, it like it's also expanding, right? So don't run your mouth too much, right? Like know when to speak and when not to, kind of vibe. And that goes for whatever sign it's in. Okay. Saturn, it rules Capricorn and Aquarius. So again, this is discipline, responsibility, authority, structure. It can be binding, it can be restricting, but it's all for the greater good, right? It's all for a purpose. Like you can't just go willy-nilly all the time. You got to dial it back in, and that's that Saturnian energy. Can't say that today. Neptune rules Pisces, very dreamy, otherworldly, illusion. It rules like photography and cinema and film. Think like sci-fi, so it's dreamy interpretation. It can also be very spiritual though, but then on the other side of that, it can be very deceptive. Neptunian energy can also be very deceptive. Think of the ocean. Neptune is Poseidon, basically. So the god of the sea, right? And it's like, there's so many beautiful things in the sea, but it's also like when you get to the bottom of the sea, if we can ever get to the bottom of the sea, it's dark. It's hard. We're always finding something new down there, unknown species that we never seen before. The fish look a little morphed, they look a little weird. It's stuff like that. Like things can get distorted really, really fast with Neptune. And lastly, or not lastly, just kidding. Uranus. Uranus rules Aquarius. So this is the plot twist planet, I like to say. So Uranus is all about evolution. It's all about authenticity, your own individual self and how you show up. Showing up in your power is liberation. It's futuristic. It's innovation. Okay. Next, we have Pluto. Pluto is all about power. A lot of people think that it's death and rebirth. And yes, it is that, but that's required for you to really tap into your power and your truth. So Pluto it rules Scorpio. So this is transformation. This is rebirth. Like we said, it's intense. It can be destructive because it's breaking down what's no longer needed. You also have hidden truth and just evolutionary growth. Next we have Chiron. Chiron, I don't know what sign Chiron is associated with, but Chiron is a wounded healer. So basically it's where your trauma, you take your childhood trauma or your wounds, and you turn them into wisdom. How can you heal from it? How can you grow from it? And sometimes this is a painful process, but it's meant for your greater good. Right? Like we love astrology and it's like a great pastime, but overall this was created to understand that this esoteric knowledge is used to enhance and streamline our growth in a whole new way. So this is all about bridging the gaps. This is all about just becoming vulnerable, and instead of that being your weakness, it is now your strength. It's like, I know that I have this weakness, but it's my strength kind of vibe. Your North Node is also known as your karmic mission or your life purpose. I kind of tread lightly when I think of Hellenistic astrology, where that's not necessarily the case. The North Node is known as the head of the dragon. So you definitely came to incarnate. You incarnated with this mission for sure. However, don't let that encompass your whole life, right? So like if your North Node, for example, my North Node is in Virgo, and my South Node is in Pisces. So while my North Node, I'm here to pretty much in my North Node, I want to say it is in my second house. So it's also like really understanding myself on a deep level and understanding my worth and my values. And like, I love money, but I don't want to let the pursuit of money and wealth consume me. But I also have to have some type of structure to it, to where I'm just like not completely escaping reality with like the escapism of Pisces in my South Node, which is something that I possibly could have done in my past life, where it's like I use religion or spirituality as an escape. Or just like, Neptune can also be like, Neptune energy can also be associated with like drugs, alcoholism, just overall some type of escape and using something as a scapegoat instead of facing things head on, systemizing and organizing myself and becoming my best self. So that's what I'm here in this life to do. So with that being said, nice segue to your South Node, which is the lesson that you've brought into this life. This is a lesson that you learned in your past life. So this is something that you've already mastered. It's your comfort zone. You can easily slip back into this type of energy. And I can attest to that. Like sometimes I do just want to be like, I don't want to do this. I have several friends who also have their South Node Pisces, and it's the same thing. Like I can see that sometimes we want to go into that escapism mode so bad, but it's like that is your comfort zone, and the whole idea is to get out of that and move towards the lesson of your North Node. Okay. The music just pumped up, so I just said a mouthful, so let's just take that as we will, and let me stay on track. So we talked about the planets. I'll briefly go over the angles in your birth chart. So in your birth chart, you have 4 angles. So you have your rising sign, and then that's near your 12th to 1st house. You have your descendant. So your rising sign is your ascendant. Your descendant is horizontally across from that, and that's between your 6th and 7th house. And then you have your MC, which is in between your 9th and 10th, and then your IC, which is between your 3rd and 4th. Okay, makes sense so far? I hope it does. I hope it's visually coming together. So pretty much your rising sign, very briefly, is all about first impressions, kind of again similar to the first house energy. So it's all about how you show up, how other people perceive you. It's all about you, self-perception, and just overall how you present yourself to the world. Your MC is the highest point in your chart. So this is like top of the mountaintop. Like, this is your on stage persona, is what I like to tell my clients and students. So this is like, how would you show up? Like, this is your game face. If I were to put you on stage right now, how would you want to appear? How would you show up and show out? Your descendant is how you, again, similar to your ascendant, but is what energy that you project to other people, or what energy other people project back to you. So this is how you show up in partnerships, collaborations, networking, relationships, etc., etc., etc. Lastly, we have the IC, which is like the root of your birth chart. So think like a tree. It has all these internal roots under the ground. This is your IC. So this is who are you when no one's watching? Who are you at home, right? Even more so than your moon sign. Like, who are you like deep, not a soul can see you? Where do you come from? What are your ancestral roots? How does that show up in your everyday life? Early childhood, again, what struggles, like think combined third and fourth house energy. What child traumas may you have, or yeah, things like that. So I hope that makes sense. Lastly, I want to talk about the aspects. So the aspects can be kind of confusing, especially when we astrologers like to just go off on a rant and say, oh, Uranus is conjunct Mars and da 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 da. And it's like, okay, girl, what does that mean? So there are several aspects, but I'm only going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 today. So the 5 aspects are conjunction or conjunct. So this is the blending of energies. It's an intense unity. It is a combined power. So I like to think like, this is your roommate in a certain house, right? So if your Jupiter is if your moon is conjunct Jupiter, your moon and your Jupiter are roommates in whatever house, in whatever sign, okay? And this, for the most part, it can be a beneficial thing when you have what's called benefic planets, which are usually Venus and Jupiter, versus malefic planets, which are usually Saturn, Mars, Pluto. So conjunctions, I mean, I like to say, of course, if you have 2 benefics, great. Even if you have a benefic and a malefic, usually the benefic is there in your natal birth chart to help that malefic out. But I digress. Like, most of the time, even if you don't like your roommate, right? Like, if somebody from across the gap, like, mess with your roommate, 9 times out of 10, you're not just gonna let your roommate go out sad, right? Like, I think for all my Harry Potter fans, like, if you were House Gryffindor, you're not just gonna let a Slytherin talk to your fellow Gryffindor roommate crazy. Like, of course, you don't really mess with a girl, but you ain't finna let no Slytherin take her out. Like, come on. And so that's a good example of opposition, right? So if your Jupiter and Moon are Gryffindor, you may have a Pluto, that's a Slytherin. So opposition is like completely on the other side of the chart of the wheel. So it's 180 degree. So this opposition is like a balancing, it's a contrast, it's the complete opposite. So it's a contrast, but it's like meant to balance everything out, right? But it does create a lot of challenges. Like, most of the time when you have an opposition, in some way, shape, or form, those planets are fighting for attention. So it's like they want smoke, right? So it is really like Gryffindor sees Slytherin. Okay. For those of you who aren't Harry Potter fans, just bear with me. Okay. I'm just trying to make it make sense. So next we have a square. So this is like, it's not complete opposition, but it's like, I see you walking by and girl, I don't like your attitude. Okay. Like, think like, she bumped me and she said it was an accident, but it wasn't kind of energy. Okay. So this is a square. So it's tension, it's conflict. It's like, oh, you got something to say? Like, get that off your chest kind of vibe. Okay. So it's definitely a dynamic for growth. Okay. It's a lot of growth opportunities. Like, y'all be easy, be cool, just vibe, relax. You have a trine. Trines are those, we're going back into good energy here. So a trine is harmonious, it's easy, it's support. Okay. Think of this as like that friend that you don't talk to, but you can call up and they still got your back kind of vibe. Okay. So there's just a flow between those energies. A sextile is an opportunity, it's a collab, it's a feature. Okay. It's very supportive. It's that friend is like, we riding or what? Like, you good? Like that friend that's down for whatever. That's a sextile. Okay. Or like a little cute little situationship where it's like, girl, yeah, like that makes you do that. So I said a lot. How are you feeling? I know that was a lot. You probably have to review this was a longer episode, but it's like I just really want to equip y'all with that. I want to talk more. I want to have more astrology conversations on my podcast, but it's kind of, I feel like I'll be doing y'all a disservice if I don't break it down in layman's term. Now, don't take this podcast and go think that you're about to become an astrologer, because it's not that. I gave very basic knowledge and I talked a lot, so I did check my notes. Sorry, not sorry. I don't have everything memorized all the time. But I say that to say, I hope now that you have a basic understanding when you are looking at a birth chart, or if you've been wanting to check out your birth chart, but you just don't know where to start, hopefully this video, or audio listeners, this podcast, well, either way it's a podcast, but hopefully this episode has helped you get a better understanding of that and you're able to do that. So thank you so much for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please, 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 I know I said this on my outro, but I was like, maybe I should say it in my episode. Please give this podcast a 5-star rating, leave a beautiful review. I will check it, I promise. And just spread the word, right? Like, I want more people to get a taste of Faithy's world and dive into these subjects with me. So thank you so much for helping me out with that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Majesty Speaks podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to leave a review and follow for more. Thank you again for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.